So, all right. So, how was?
Yeah.
So, let me know how was the No Kings mass terrorist meeting in your neck of the woods?
Well, all my Hamas buddies came out. Big Hamas presence in
Mm-hmm.
small Townsville, USA, here where I live. Of course, because why wouldn't there be? That's just the one of the core constituencies of the Democratic Party, you know. So they were there. Lots of Antifas, like just Antifas all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with their membership cards and everything. I mean, the leadership structure was apparent.
Yeah.
Ugh. No, man, it was wonderful. The turnout for how bad the weather was really good considering. The outpouring from motorists and passersby was overwhelmingly positive. There were a couple, three coal rolling Trumpers that would make a few loops back and forth through the main drag here where we were doing this, but
Mm-hmm.
otherwise, overwhelmingly positive response
Mm-hmm.
from.
Coal rolling, by the way, not itself a violent act or.
No. Yeah, I saw that Reddit post too.
Oh God, dude.
Yeah,
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 just
just constantly displaying their emotional maturity, aren't they? They're
right. Yes.
proud. They're proud of their infantile state of personal human development. Like it.
I guess realistically, you don't have to show any emotional maturity if you don't believe in emotions.
Mm.
Emotions are gay and woke.
Yeah, that must be why they're all so like strong and stoic and unemotional and don't like
Mm-hmm.
just have hissy fits and go tear assing through intersections and doing ridiculous shit.
Right.
Clearly.
Doing donuts on
That
chalk
is a sign
rainbows
of
in the
just
street.
emotional clarity and
Yeah.
yeah, clearly. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
glad we got
Yeah,
that
no,
sorted out.
it's they they not only have the emotional high ground through their eschewing any analysis of their own emotions and just ignoring that
Mhm.
they might exist, but they have the intellectual high ground by ignoring facts and reality, and they have the rhetorical high
Mm,
ground
mm,
by
mm.
just not listening to a fucking word you say. It's
So by
honestly,
operating outside of all of these systems, they're working on a completely different plane than we are.
they're so far
They've
outside of the system.
discarded the rules of our game entirely and are
Right.
playing their own game on top of it and
Right.
around it and adjacent to it. So
They have
brilliant.
gone so far outside of the system that they have mastered the system. It's their
Wow.
avant-garde take on reality that is truly innovative and revolutionary.
Avant-garde take on reality. I appreciate that term.
Yes, kind of the same thing up here, in St. Louis. We had the turnout when I first showed up. I was like, okay, well, it's bigger than the first event that I went to earlier this year, smaller than the first No Kings, but the weather was terrible in St. Louis. It was really bad. Lots and lots of
Yeah.
lightning. It was
Yeah, we
legitimately
had
one of those things
yeah,
where
same.
it was enough of an
It
electrical
felt
storm.
unsafe for a bit.
Right, exactly.
It felt
And I
very
wouldn't
unsafe.
I wouldn't blame anybody for not participating just because of that. And
100%.
but a lot of people came out and over. It technically started at noon is when like it was really starting to kick off. We didn't really start walking until about like 1:15, and the crowd easily doubled between noon and 1. It
Yeah.
got huge. It got fucking huge. And
Same experience. Ours kind of had a little starting point and it marched up to the big main drag intersection. And like, yeah, it easily doubled from around that noon time when we all started to kind of shuffle up there until it filled in a little bit. It was like, my gosh,
Mhm.
so many more people.
So many
And it was a
people.
lot of people to begin with. I mean, it was impressive just seeing the probably what is it, eighth or so of a mile old city blocks, just
Mhm.
filled with people from that starting point down to the intersection. And then to see it also spread out in the other three directions on both sides of the
Mhm.
street, like in almost equal numbers. It was like, wow,
Yeah, I believe
go small Townsville, go Smallsville.
I think we saw pictures of New York City over 100,000 people,
Oh yeah,
Chicago over 100,000
Chicago was
people.
over 150. New York was well over 250 was the
Is
estimate.
it that? See, these are numbers that I was gonna say. These are numbers that I saw like 6 hours ago. So not even up to date, like realistic ones. And
Yeah, we were
they
watching a video within a couple hours or so ago, so maybe that was just a more recent number, different
the
estimate perhaps.
the big number I think is, so for the first No Kings, there was, I think, just under 5 million people responded and like registered for the protest
Mm,
through No Kings like email outlets.
yeah.
Um, and this one it was 7 million. It was a dramatic increase, and I'm sure that
Hmm,
there's a
hmm.
correlation between the number of online registrants and the number of people that actually show up. I mean, it would be kind of ridiculous to expect that not to be the case, but I'm sure so many of the people that showed up were not registered. I am curious
Yeah,
what
I
the
was gonna
actual
say, if
number is.
anything, the number should outpace the registration number. There should be sort of a shy effect on that end, but then people,
Even if you just think about couples where maybe just one person
yeah,
registers, or a family and other people from the family come with them, like just that
yeah,
alone.
people that don't know or don't get convinced until the last minute. I like the last 2 3 days, I've been pushing everybody I can think to lean on, be like,
Hmm.
hey, get out. And I know I got a few last minute people that, yeah, okay.
And
I'm sure none of them were went on No Kings and
no, I'm sure
registered. So yeah.
exactly. And
But
like, and I myself did not. I didn't register to go to the protest. I just was going. I just knew I was going.
mhm.
And I should probably maybe be more involved. That would not be a bad thing for me to consider in some places, but the same, like, myself, my fiance, we didn't register for this, and we took a third
Us, I don't
person
even
and they
remember if
didn't
I did.
register. So like,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
there's so many people that definitely, so that number is definitely low. I don't know how much it's going to be outpaced by, but I mean, there has to at least have been like 10 million people nationwide. I would, out
Oh,
at least.
easily. I would think this would at least double the turnout from the previous rally.
The drive, so there was
Especially just
a
as the big city effect, like the cities that have been hit by the ICE presence, or Chicago's, Los Angeles,
Mhm,
New York,
mhm.
like was it Nashville, I think showed up really big. But that's gonna have an effect. You're gonna rub people the wrong way when you're militarizing the city that they live in.
And out
Yeah,
of those
that's gonna spur some civic duty.
things too, like people showing up big in Tennessee when there's a capitulation by their local government, that is a huge deal. And that is every bit as important as Pritzker showing up and marching and chanting with people in Chicago. Um,
100%.
like
We need the blue pockets and red, so much like both of our current situations.
what I saw a lot of today were people, two populations of people I really want to remark on.
Okay.
One, people clearly over the age of 60. So many people 60 and up. And these are, of course, going to be some of the people that are most affected in the short term by the current healthcare fight
Yeah,
that's going on, and
yeah,
ongoing
absolutely.
healthcare fights, and concerns about social security cuts and things like that, which are just a mainstay of both Trump administrations so far. Um, they so many people 60 and up showed up, like the elderly population, and not just marching, but also like on
And
the
they always
side.
they
And
are the core of this shit.
yes,
That's absolutely holds true in the last go around as well.
well, and I guarantee 75% of them had a sign. Whereas, like in
Oh
general,
yeah,
it's probably more
don't piss
like
off the old people, man.
15%. Like the old people come out all the time with signs and flags, and yeah, they are out there and they fucking mean it. If they showed up in this fucking weather, they really fucking mean it. And also,
Because they remember shit. They've
Mhm,
seen they saw what this looks like and like heard from parents firsthand what this looks like. They have a better eye on history than we
mhm,
do, and people below us even. Like there's a certain amount of lived experience and just being there in those moments that
mhm.
really flavors your opinion. And thank God for that. Like,
Yeah, well, and yeah, like so, like living in close proximity to, like, growing up in close proximity in time to something like the Civil Rights Act, like, and seeing
yeah.
firsthand that it wasn't like a fucking light switch where just suddenly, oh, the people got rights. Like
Oh, yep. All right.
it's a
Let's all sing
codification of
Kumbaya now. No.
it's a codification of the start of a slow cultural change, and to live
Mhm.
through the start of that and the pressures around that, it's that itself is unique. And also, like, when you're talking about this age of people, proximity to Vietnam, again, that itself, just leaving Vietnam doesn't end the effects of being in Vietnam. Like
Yeah.
these things persist for some time.
Multi-generational wounds.
Right, right. And by the time I'm born in 1985, it's not that that is gone, but it has been dulled, washed over, replaced a little bit in
Yeah.
verbiage and things like that. It's gone through the political cycle several times and been iterated on many times before I'm even born, much less can actually understand
Yeah.
any of the shit.
And the people that are left behind from those that did die or whatever, they've already gone through the grief cycle, like, and so it's not something that they're constantly rehashing. Like,
Hmm,
those
hmm.
people are effectively gone from the people that lost them, so they're not wearing that on their sleeve on the day to day. So you're not going to
Right.
see that outwardly.
But so to go back, the other group of people I really did notice were people that openly identified as not Democrats, but that were anti-fascist. These are going to be your. I used to be a crypto
I bet that's
libertarian.
what I kind of looked like, to be honest, because I was sporting an American flag. I was literally had Old Glory draped over me,
Hmm,
and my flag or my sign said, "Proud Antifa fam since World War II."
hmm,
So like, very non uh, affiliated. You could
hmm,
not necessarily assume, but you could see me in not know necessarily which
hmm.
camp, if it's in this particular camp like you're referring to, or
Well, and it's
otherwise.
not. Well, yeah, I think there's elements of that are more on the right. And I mean, let's be honest. We are, for a mainstream, at least myself. I don't want to speak for you here. This is more of an assumption, but of how you might perceive it. But for me, at least, when I show up to a No Kings event, as mainstream as it is, with Cory Bush speaking at the event that I was at, like, it, you know,
Nice. That's awesome.
very, very mainstreamed in a lot of ways. I definitely am still feel like a bit of an outsider because I am completely on the outside of any concern about the party politics. I vote for Democrats
Yeah,
pragmatically. I don't like Democrats as a party. So like it's I am
agree more so now. Like, yeah,
yeah, so like it's sort of a I feel like there's more people showing up maybe with that kind of a mentality for these mainstream things, and
hmm
also like as far as like being kind of ostensibly left of that median that's going to be at the No Kings rally, but
hmm
definitely
hmm
people that I would think would generally be on the right of it. People that made a point to on their signs or in conversations that I heard around me made a point to say, well, I don't, I voted Republican or I don't like I'm
yeah.
not a Democrat, like I'm an independent, whatever. I don't
Well,
have that party affiliation. It's good to see that kind of mobilization for something that's mainstream because it's easier than to pull them to seeing voting as again just a pragmatic act.
yeah,
And you don't have to be a Democrat to vote for a Democrat. You don't have to like the party to make the pragmatic assertion that this is the right group to support in this exact moment and then pressure down the line.
yeah, yeah. So that's why I was actually there with my dad today, who
Mm,
is a lifelong conservative,
mhm,
essentially up until the Donald Trump and the Tea Party kind of rubbed him the wrong way because I think he saw that for being a little bit of the smoke screen bullshit that it was,
mhm, mhm,
astroturfed bullshit that it was.
mhm,
But I mean, that was not enough to shake him away from being a conservative or calling himself a Republican. But Donald Trump absolutely did. And like, it has been amazing to watch the kind of awakening go on,
mhm,
which
mhm,
I see the opposite experience being had still. And so many people still lamenting like the loss of their parent to this cult. If you're losing the mics of the world, and I know a lot of other guys just like
mhm,
him, and I'm related to other guys just like him,
mhm,
like there you have a broad coalition of that side of the American electorate. Like those
mhm,
are people that should not be coming to something anti-Republican president. Like,
mhm.
and he is
It's
one of again many like that were there. So
being on the like overt belligerent like path that like rhetorically that Trump early set himself on and has stayed on for not before his political career even began. Being this kind of a person, all, Trump is going to consistently do what people I think would like claim that Democrats tended to do with identity politics. He's going to rhetorically put up these dividing walls. And
mhm,
listen,
mhm.
every time he puts up one of those dividing walls, you are going to hear very loud people that are on his side of it be like, "Yeah, gatekeep in this way," right?
Yeah,
Such
yeah,
as
yeah.
with the use of the military to enforce his will, with using one state's national guard against another state to enforce his will, right? Like that kind of behavior. He sets up these dividing lines, and yeah, some people are going to be on side it, but it is an opportunity for people to be on the outside of it. And
Yeah.
when you're talking about older folks, people that have proximity to the military as well, people that have
And
just
he's also very much did not serve, but has spent a lot of time with like honor flights and doing a
mm,
lot of charity work involved with military stuff. So yeah, like this is somebody who's still very much in that veneration of the military and patriotism kind of
as
camp.
as much as I don't get along with him, it's something I could maybe see with even my father. I don't know where the line would be for him, but he was in the Marine Corps. The use of the military in this way could strike like and I don't care who our allies are. Like that's what I thought when I saw Cori Bush
Yeah.
out there. I've got criticisms of Cori Bush, but if she's going to speak the way that she spoke today in front of this crowd, and she's going to get people moving, and she's going to get Wesley
Yes.
Bell kicked the fuck out, get this APAC money influence kick the fuck out of the first district in Missouri, and even come back into it herself. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's do this shit.
That's
Let's
exactly how I feel about Gavin Newsom. Like,
yeah.
I'm not a Gavin Newsom fanboy by any stretch, but motherfucker is bringing the fight to these people and seems to be one of the few people just absolutely vociferously pushing back on everything that they're doing. And is it in a self-centered, egotistical kind of way? Yeah,
Mhm,
sure, but whatever. He's still fighting the good fight and very effectively at times,
mhm, mhm,
especially just kind of keeping them on the back foot. And this is what one of the things that one of my takeaways from the protest. Uh, and shout out to Frog Boy. Like, and I saw a lot of that as well, and
mhm,
it's so
mhm,
good for a lot of different reasons. It's good because it it keeps everything light. It shows that we're not like just a bunch of buzzkill killjoys who just want to come and like take all your free. No, like we are out here because we appreciate freedom and want everybody to be able to be free and expressive and like so there is this joyous warriors kind of like
mhm.
uplifting sort of mentality about it. But also like the beauty of just the Frogman initially is just the absurdity of it. Just
Mm,
rub their face in the absurdity of what's going on. And it's like calling them weird. It really strikes at something deep in their fragile little snowflakey incel hearts.
mhm.
It gets them. It gets them a lot. So just like showing that just absurdity and mockery in the face of their attempted intimidation just goes a long, long way.
It's
I feel like.
asking it is literally asking a person that is angry if they're mad. Like it is
Give you
such
a
a fucking
timeout.
it is such a
Look at the
troll.
froggy.
Are you so mad? And okay, so a
Oh,
couple things. So on the I agree. Like as far as the keeping it light, like we saw a lot of that as well. People showing up in the inflatable costumes and stuff. It was fun. It was great. The environment was fantastic. There were a couple of scuffles. I didn't see any punches thrown or anything like that. There was
and
definitely
thank
some
God for
name
that. Like,
calling and,
thank
and
God
shit like
that
that.
this.
There was definitely some name calling, some insults being thrown. But I mean, you're free to insult, engage, label,
Yeah,
critique anyone and anything in this country, so long as you don't call for a use of violence or you slander them, right? So fuck it. If
absolutely.
counter protesters want to show up and you want to call them a fucking Nazi, you are absolutely allowed to do that.
Yeah,
And actually, as we were leaving, we heard some counter protesters butthurt about exactly that. About exactly these people,
aw,
like literally walking away saying these people are crazy, and it's like you show up to counter protest at a No Kings event and you expect nobody to engage with you. You expect
yeah,
nobody to have conflict with you, and you also think that that's outside of the realm of free speech. Conflict is part of free
yeah,
expression. Violent conflict is not, but conflict absolutely is. You don't have to be comfortable with
yeah.
your time that you get to use your free speech. People can make you feel uncomfortable by speaking back.
See, I think they're probably more butthurt if they didn't get the engagement they were looking for. They probably got largely ignored and or mocked or probably engaged with as well, but
Mhm.
it sounds like they just didn't get the satisfaction that they were looking for.
I
And we're
will say
probably leaving with a pile of butt hurt.
there was one woman that had stopped like pulled herself out of the march that was engaging with. I think it was these people that were walking away, but definitely some people that were left behind. And I could hear her before we walked up there too. But she was very loud, very, very forward. And, I mean, again, she brought conflict to them, but she's allowed to do that. She's absolutely allowed to do
Yeah,
that. They're allowed to walk away, take the ball and
100%.
run and say that she's crazy or whatever, but so we were
Please.
talking about the environment, the inflatable costumes and stuff like that,
Yeah.
bringing some levity to it. Again, like I was saying, there
Woohoo!
were some scuffles, but there was nothing serious. There's nothing. Nobody got hurt or anything. Everybody walked away from it
Thank goodness for that. Like,
unviolated, which is, yeah, absolutely the way it should go.
this could have
And
gone very, very badly, but
and when you're talking
seeing
about,
nationwide, it didn't. None of the worst case scenario shit unfolded. So
I mean, no
thank
arrests
God for
in
that.
New York. I believe the same was this. I
Yep.
think the same was the case in Chicago. I'm sure it
Arrested
was in St.
Schmitz. Like,
Louis.
I was probably taking the under today on martial law being declared by the time we were having this conversation. So where
I
we are at right now is splendid. So
Again, the No Kings event is such a normie event, and which is part of its
it
appeal,
is, but
part of why it's
it's
effective.
so it's so easy though to bring in outside agitators, bring in agent provocateurs,
Mhm.
and start shit that way. Like, especially when you have the ICE presence that you have. If we had, and this must have been a directive, but there were no ICE snatching people up in the middle of trying to snatch people up in protests or anything. One, because they know they don't have numbers on their side and they're not that dumb.
Mhm.
They're dumb, but
Mhm.
they're not fucking that dumb.
Yeah.
But there's still a million ways that this could have gone sideways, at least gone sideways enough that they could have spawned it as a narrative.
Yeah,
Which didn't happen. So hell yeah for that.
I don't know what the presence of the National Guard looked like in Texas. I believe Abbott was deploying the National Guard to protest some protests in Texas to support the police. But I mean, the police. Just speaking for St. Louis again, violent, crazy St. Louis. The cops were a block and a half away, just holding back traffic, and there would be a couple of cops every couple
Because
of
they
blocks.
don't want that
They
shit, man. They want an easy payday where they're out there picking up overtime shifts to cover this stuff.
Right.
And if it's just everybody being peaceful and having a great time and they get paid time and a half on their already ridiculous salaries, time and a half,
Mhm.
probably God knows what, but they're making a
Who
lot of
fucking knows?
money to work extra shifts to do this shit. And if all it is standing around just watching the protesters go by and
Mhm.
laughing at their hijinks or hating them or whatever you want to do, who cares? Like, that's the easiest day of their life. That's exactly what they want.
But what's funny is I'm seeing now. I expect it to show up on Fox. It might have already happened. I expect it to show up on Fox though, as pulled to the extreme as part of their line of attack. But I'm seeing in some articles covering the No Kings protests, they basically give it this air of being like a music festival, like that's a bad thing. Not they There's all this
So
criticism of the Antifa super soldiers going to start their hate America march, and when there's no violence, nobody gets hurt, families are showing up, there's dogs all over the place,
they
and
have to try and fit
whatever.
their narrative. Like, yeah,
Now
it's very 1984. Like, Forget that one thing we were just saying. Now let's mock them for
Let's
being
switch it over
silly
to
and
the
being
next.
here. Like, yeah,
And
the enemy is at the same time powerful and controlling, yet weak and pathetic. Like,
they did this shit with Occupy.
mhm.
And
It is
I
another hallmark of fascism. That,
yeah.
but again, it was we didn't even realize how much it was poking its ugly head back then. But again, that was fascism versus anti-fascism. Like
Mhm. Mhm.
that same power
It was just
struggle playing
directed
out, and
at it was just very clearly directed at the financial base of that power as opposed to
yes.
the political
Yeah, the
nefarious
other
kind of
political and
institutional
social
racist parts of
constructs
it.
weren't in place then, but yeah,
Right.
it was the underpinnings. It's the little bit of that wave, that tide starting to form.
Try as he might, that communist Barack Obama couldn't stop capitalism, couldn't bring it down. Uh,
He couldn't take everybody's guns or start a registry either, but Trump's for crying, so
Trump is dead. I
surely
mean,
the Second Amendment people will be up in arms about that soon, right?
Trump's made more progress on a national gun registry than any Democrat.
Than anyone ever. Like, yeah,
It's
it
fucking
has happened. They have what they seemingly, unless injunction or an appeal has been filed that I'm unaware of, have a court order for this particular group. I forget the name to hand over membership lists. They have
is the
essentially created the beginning of a registry of gun owners
is the
based
NRA
on the
just
membership.
apoplectic?
Oddly silent,
What?
oddly quiet so far.
Hmm.
Yeah, right. Surely they just they must not have heard about it yet.
Probably haven't heard about it yet.
Surely
Yeah.
the yeah, it's a small story so far. It's kind of slipped under the radar. So
Listen,
when they read next week's Washington Post, they'll figure it out.
yeah, I don't know. I'm expecting, so doubling back a little bit. I'm expecting on this like laziness, and again,
Mhm.
like what they did this kind of thing with Occupy Wall Street. I expect them to now say like, oh, the No Kings thing, it didn't really matter. None of these protests really matter because these people go out there and they say free Palestine and down with billionaires and they say a million things. They just don't like this country. They don't like anything that's going on. They don't have a coherent
Yeah,
message. They don't have coherent demands. And
that's what Greg Gutfeld and all of these other chuckle fucks are going to be out there saying tomorrow. Like
right,
you're
right.
it's a plain like,
And like listen, they had a problem with BLM protests, which did not have this problem. I would say most widespread grievances is not an uncommon like facet of mainstream nationwide protests since Occupy Wall Street and including Occupy Wall
it is
Street to some degree.
the core of our First Amendment right, the right to assemble and petition the government for a redress of grievances. Like,
Mhm, mhm. But I mean, I think there is a central thesis that I felt from all the speakers at both of the No Kings marches, and also it was the I think it was a 50501,
oh,
like an early one early this year in the spring, that was not technically a No Kings march, um, because I don't know, it's
I
fuzzy.
think
Anyways,
I believe I remember. Yeah,
yeah. So all the central thesis I think is the executive has too much unilateral control in a capitulating system that serves a wealthy few. Like I think that is regardless of Republican or Democrat, because again, it's not like Barack Obama brought about the golden age of socialism, and
no, I mean he did
it's not that.
nothing to. Well, I mean, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say he did nothing to relinquish executive control because he kind of did do some things, but he didn't do anything overwhelming to like turn that tide back the other way and limit
Yeah, I
Trump
mean,
power.
he still used executive control to extrajudicially murder a Anwar al-Awlaki,
Yeah,
one Anwar
that's
al-Awlaki, uh,
that's a bit of a no-no. We frown on that.
which Trump is doing right now with Venezuelans and
And
Colombians.
that's kind of one of my key issues with all of that. Like, so everybody, they're like, that was one of the biggest criticisms. Oh, Obama's droning people. Obama's droning. Okay, you do realize that one, he didn't create these. He didn't start this. Drone bombings and military use of drones was already a thing that had begun under the Bush administration, but they had conveniently set up the rules where they didn't have to account for those as
Hmm.
they didn't have to account for them the same way that any other sort of combat fatality of an enemy. It basically kind of got to slide underneath the radar.
If
One of the very
it's the
first things that Obama did when he came in and was elected was to put that back into the same ledger of all other. So he put that back on the table when it was
hmm,
previously hidden under the table. So yeah, the numbers for him look a lot worse. It looks like he was drone bombing the fuck out of people when all he did was
right.
literally just made it accountable where it had been clandestine before.
Yeah.
So he
Yeah.
he literally invited that criticism upon himself in the interest of accountability.
Your concerns about martial law and things like that are not, while I personally did not have any concerns of that happening again, because I feel like this is such a normie kind of march. I didn't really expect it. I thought if it was going to happen in some way, there would be some encroachment by the National Guard in some place like Texas, for example, is what I
Mhm,
mostly expected
mhm.
was possible there. But um oh God,
See, I
fuck, I
was
totally
expecting
lost.
more of just kind of of them to be more reliant on sort of like just a flashpoint kind of thing
Mm.
going on.
Well, but
All it takes is just one real flashpointy issue, and that's gonna like ripple across the social media and whatnot real
it
fast,
would.
and
I
it's gonna
agree.
flavor everything everywhere.
I
Like if
agree,
you're
but there's a couple of things on that. There's one, again, harkening back to Occupy Wall Street. We people that are like privy to protest culture, right? To being in
Mhm,
protests, to marching with people and things like that, are more aware of agent provocateurs as a concept and
mhm.
how they operate, what they look like, what they do, where they are. There's one person I saw today that was definitely, you could not, there's no way in a million years you can convince me this person was not a Fed. They were actually
Narc,
hanging out.
narc. Uh,
They were actually hanging out and kind of watching the conflict that was happening that I mentioned before, the little scuffle that was going
mhm,
on.
mhm.
And they were masked. They were masked. They looked like they're under their raincoat. They might have had a vest. Like the body language, everything, whatever. They didn't get involved. I expected to see people like that out there. You should expect to see people like that out there just about
Absolutely,
any
and
meaningful.
you should be able to recognize those people as you did because they're really not that hard to spot if you're just like
Hmm.
being conscientious and paying attention to people around you. Like, which is odd that they're not better at that, honestly. You
They
would think
so
they would understand that. Like, play the part, like carry a sign, and if you're gonna be that guy, if you're gonna be there monitoring the situation, be a little bit more believable about it. Like,
to
I don't know.
99% of people, it looks like he's just another dude. To the people that recognize him as very likely, if not definitely, a Fed, he wants to be noticed for that. He doesn't want there to be a doubt that he's that and not just
True.
like a fucking random MAGA provocateur. He wants to be seen as, because that guy wasn't doing anything. He wasn't participating in any disruption. He was there clearly observing. and
Yeah,
I expect
and
to
it's the
see people
people in
like
the
that.
know, like yourself or whoever else that's gonna recognize that. You're gonna recognize that as, okay, that guy's doing his thing. That's just a person to not be fucked with.
Right,
He is
exactly. He does
monitoring the
it.
situation. If it is a Fed, okay. But I'm honestly, I'm
There
fine
needs
with
to
their
be like
presence
a
there.
there needs to be like a polarization for them. They either need to look like nobody or like exactly what they
Yes.
are, and nothing in between.
Yes. Uh-huh.
But
Could not agree more.
in
Perfectly fine.
talking about this martial art, I sorry, I kind of got lost for a second in the point I was making at first, but it's talking about like the tie between what's going on with Venezuela and these kinds of the drone strikes and the No Kings thing, labeling people that are critical of Christianity, critical of capitalism, which critical of Christianity that didn't really come up, especially here in the Midwest. That's not really going to be much of a thing.
Yeah.
As far in one of these normie protests, I wouldn't expect it to really be, anyways. But um, the critical of capitalism for sure, and definitely, again, Antifa, which Mike Johnson was out there saying that everybody that shows up to these protests is Antifa. There's so much legal power behind the designation as of a group of people as terrorists. There's incredible
Absolutely.
legal power that
It's
goes
an
along with that designation.
it is incredibly sinister thing that
Mhm.
they that did not get nearly the attention that it deserves. But
Yeah.
yes, I could not agree more that labeling an incredibly broad, amorphous, and absolutely loose and unorganized group, because there is no leadership structure. Like everything they're trying to paint is absolute fucking bullshit.
Mhm. Mhm.
But but the Fox News viewers, that set, that half of the country doesn't know that, and they're gonna consume the information that's fed to them,
Mhm.
which are it's not, you can't even just say Fox News anymore because it's everything now. So much of everything is owned by people with aligned interests. So essentially all the mainstream news sources aren't going to be straying too far from the party line. They're gonna maintain at least a little bit of heel to the moderate left side of the culture.
I will say I
But it's
did
still gonna it's
I
still gonna
was
be flavored in the way that the ownership structure wants it to be flavored.
I was impressed with on this kind of like previous topic a little bit there of the movement having a central thesis. I was impressed a little bit with Jessica Tarlov, the token liberal on the five,
Thank you. She's the
and
one person I wanted to bring up. I
yeah.
was really hoping you'd bring up her video. 'Cause
Yeah,
fuck yeah, she
we
absolutely
can watch
nailed it.
that if you want. I can pull it up if you want.
I mean, if you think the viewers at home should see that, I couldn't agree more because I think she fucking absolutely put it out there wonderfully.
They never stop thinking about
And
new ways to harm our country and our people, and neither do we.
Let's look it up.
God damn it, I never thought I would miss that motherfucker. I really, really never thought I would look back and think, oh God, you remember when George Bush was president? Remember when Junior?
Yeah,
Oh,
dude,
what a simpler time.
it was an incredible time. It
Fuck.
was great.
Fucking
Yeah,
fuck, man.
the wonderful Bush family.
Please clap.
Ugh. What?
Please
Hit me with
clap.
that one again.
Please
Please
clap.
clap. Oh, Jeb.
Please clap.
Jeb. Oh, man.
We do have this button.
Damn.
We do have this button.
They have sexual rituals, some of the most ancient Egyptian rituals.
We do have that button. So we do have. I will say we've got the best buttons.
Oh
The
Jesus,
best-
we do.
the best.
Pokemon go to the polls.
We've got some of the best buttons.
So bad.
All
Best. Oh my word.
right.
let me compose myself here. Yeah.
Did you know that it's illegal to say I want to kill the President of the United States of America?
Okay. I'm ready.
Yeah, I'll
Right.
recenter
ready.
you with the BR. That brings everything back into focus.
Yes. Full circle. Here we go.
I call it the N-word.
You asshole. Hey.
Legalize comedy.
God. All right.
All right. That was
so
like
Jessica-
too far. You
so
killed
Jessica
it.
Tarlov,
Yeah.
talking about the No Kings protests. Here, I'm going to back it up just a skosh because Don Lemon
Give the people
encourages
what they asked
minorities
for.
Ooh, okay. So I didn't catch this Don Lemon quote about encouraging minorities to get a gun. I didn't realize Don Lemon was so based.
Whoa. I think I saw something recently and was like, okay, Don. All right. Let's see you over there, buddy. So yeah, that seems to jive with something. Let's see it. Roll the
you should
tape.
be taken in and also get your due process rights. But we also know
You can
there's
hear it
a
pretty well.
ProPublica investigation that more than 170 Americans have been detained by ICE, with 20 held for more than a day without being able to contact their lawyer or a loved one. And that's what the No Kings protest is about. Donald Trump says, I'm not a king. And yeah, we get it. You're not a king. You wish you were a king, and you're running this administration as if you should have those kinds of rights. The lack of respect for the Constitution and the laws of this country are astounding. And Trump even told Kristen Welker when he was on Meet the Press a few months ago that he didn't know if he had to uphold the Constitution. And in preparation for today's show, I just wanted to go over, a few of the things that people who are going to be out there on the streets peacefully protesting are upset about. Starting with the basics, signing an executive order to do away with birthright citizenship, which is literally in the Constitution. Sending troops into blue cities.
Oh, you mean anchor
unilaterally implementing tariffs, which Congress gets to do.
Did you catch? I don't know who that doofus was. I'm
Yeah, who
surprised
is that
it got
doofus?
felled. I have no idea. Yeah, asking about the anchor babies. Was that Brett Baer?
Man, somewhere along the lines, somewhere in your ancestry, that was you. So shut the fuck up. And
Right. Yeah.
unless your name is Little Fucking Bear, shut the fuck up.
Right. Exactly. This
Because
whole
you know how your ancestors came over and did it the right way? You know what did it the right way meant then? You got on a boat and you fucking came over. And you signed a paper
Right.
when you got here. So
Yep.
fuck off.
Yeah,
Fuck clean off with that.
these are the same people that wouldn't understand the problem with literacy tests for being able to vote.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
They don't see any sort of
Or
world outside the
redlining
world
or
exactly
poll
in front-
taxes
yeah.
or you name it.
As long as the gateway is open for them, they don't see it as a gateway.
Redlining doesn't affect me at all, so why is it a problem?
Why is it even an issue? Yeah.
Yeah. I've never been negatively affected by that. Anyway,
to do away with birthright citizenship, which is literally in the Constitution, sending troops into blue cities.
Oh, you mean anchor babies?
Unilaterally implementing tariffs, which Congress gets to do. I already talked about the 170 Americans who've been locked up. Cracking down on the First Amendment, detaining students for op-eds you don't like, targeting law firms, universities, reallocating funds appropriated by Congress to fund your big ICE force, firing inspectors generals that are looking into your friends like Elon Musk, making billions off of crypto scams, and your kids are running all over the world making deals. And the Trump administration has defied 1 in 3 judges that have ruled against him. And you're seeing that from judges appointed up from Reagan up to Donald Trump that are saying absolutely not, you are breaking the law in taking some of these actions. All of that is what No King's Day is about.
Then why are they always dressed like a furry, screaming about
They're not always.
like boys and girls
Well,
locker
to show
rooms?
how
I mean, we just showed
ridiculous.
it. Like they are ridiculous.
Wouldn't you rather they be?
Okay, Joey. This is Joey. I don't know. I don't know who Joey is. The least charismatic of the Backstreet Boys. I don't know. So
no.
I don't know who
Joey
this.
is a wannabe tough guy. Oh, I know Joey. That dude is a slimy used car salesman who's like hacking God knows what right now. But yeah, that
Right.
dude is just a classic douche. He's an archetype of a douchebag.
I like that when he first brought in the anchor babies thing, she just blows right past him, and then as soon as he brings up the furries, she just says they're not, and like it's just simple. It's like they're not, and like this like they're dressing up like furries and they're talking about boys and girls bathrooms. Like I don't think that marching down the street and chanting when trans rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back is advocating for boys to have unilateral access to girls' bathrooms in like with like nefarious like to feed into
That
some
issue has never ever really meant anything to him. It's one of those things that they will pick up and champion and claim as a deeply held belief that they really, really believe in that. And much like their whole, so much of this is to protect women in sports and protect women. It's not an attack on these groups. It's absolute bullshit. It always fucking falls apart what their real motivation is.
Yeah.
When
you
never, it's
when you actually
never
look at
a
the
thing that they
numbers,
sincerely hold.
yeah, when you actually look at the numbers of like for example, the number of high school trans athletes who might have pushed somebody that's not trans out of qualifying for some event, for some regional event or something like that.
Yeah.
You're talking about like 15 fucking people. And you're talking about sports that these fucking people
of this.
Like you're talking about shit that these people don't care about. These people don't care about high school sports.
No.
They don't
They
go fuck about high school
genuinely
sports.
have never given two fucks about that.
If
And
anything,
the same with fucking trans people supposedly abusing kids. Like Donald Trump has probably personally abused more children than the entire trans community ever. And like, but no, this was from an earlier protest, but it's one of the greatest signs that I've ever seen because there was a priest of some sort that had your typical hellfire and brimstone abortion, you're all going to hell, whatever. But a lady came up with a sign stood next to him and said, this guy, he was like, trans people are going to hell, or trans people abuse children. That's what it was. It was like something about trans people being sexually abusive. Anyway, the lady's sign just pointed at him and said, statistically more likely to be a sexual abuser. And it's absolutely fucking true.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
A
not just
member of the
statistically.
clergy is statistically more likely and much larger in scope and scale than a
Yes.
trans person is.
Yeah, not just
A child
individually,
is
statistically.
safer with an individual trans person than with an individual priest. Like,
And these individual priests are safer than trans people because they exist inside of a culture of a moneyed interest that will protect them legally and otherwise from prosecution were they
yes,
to be caught in some way, were there evidence to come to light about these sexual improprieties against
because it
children.
looks bad on the institution as a whole, so they will always circle the wagons to
Yeah,
protect
absolutely.
that and damaging the whole.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's grotesque. It's just
Hmm.
grotesque on so many levels. Like,
Hmm. Yeah, the trans panic is it is so clearly just like weaponized leftovers of conformity kind of politics of
yeah,
we need everybody to tuck their shirts in, all the boys should tuck their shirts in, wear their belts,
yeah,
aligned just right, get their hair cut short, shave, and salute the flag. Like you have to be this model patriot figure that jumps through all the performative hoops.
trad. The whole trad van, like
Mm. Hmm.
that's the
And
aesthetic
it
that they're all
well, and it
living up
doesn't and
to.
it doesn't matter what you believe as long as you go through the ritual. You gotta
Yeah,
participate in the ritual, or else you're suspicious.
that's exactly what I was kind of driving at earlier. It's they don't actually hold any of these beliefs sincerely. It's
Hmm.
all just their own little kind of weird virtue signaling. And a lot of times I believe that they all know, even though they're saying this shit to one another, that it's bullshit, or if it's not bullshit, it doesn't matter that it's not bullshit. We'll move on. But we're all believing and saying the same thing. It's the performative, I'm choosing the group over reality thing that they do
Hmm.
with one another, to one another, to signal that you are in the group. It's my way of saying that the group is more important than what reality tells me.
I
Ignore your lying eyes and listen to Big Brother. Like,
I do think a lot of them are true believers insofar as it like okay, so being a true believer is not an immutable state. Let's start with that.
absolutely, yeah,
And so they're
100%.
true believers
That's what I'm
insofar.
saying. There's a certain amount of plasticity built into it. They have to be able to constantly adapt and
Well,
just be like water and accept.
it's part of maintaining their identity. They're true believers insofar as it helps maintain their definition of
Yes,
their place in our society, their place in our culture, and
absolutely, yeah.
eroding at that does
They don't have a
huge
strong enough
damage.
identity of their own, so it's tied directly to this thing. That's what
Mhm,
this thing gives them, is this strong sense of identity and something to be moored to.
mhm,
So they will latch onto the saying and cling to that mooring more strongly than reality or any of the other forces in the world around them. They're like
mhm.
a lamprey that has clung on to that thing that they've built their identity around.
Well, and it's
And
baked into the language that's used. There's these conservatives will go out of their way to constantly claim that it is liberals, it is the left that is obsessed with identity, with saying that they're a zim, zer, they, them, whatever. When the fact of the matter is, it's actually conservatives that have been desperately clinging on to these labels
Yeah,
And you can
100%.
see it in that they have to maintain these strict definitions of man and woman, and they have to, if a trans person is seen to be a man or woman, they have to identify them immediately as trans, whereas the trans person themselves just wants to be identified as a man or woman. Generally speaking,
Person.
there's obviously they
Or
and
just
but
identify them as a fucking person. Like, I'm as hillbilly cis white dude about as you get, but I just have enough, like, I don't know, social awareness and empathy to meet someone and not, like, immediately make it about that. I can interact with you without being like, now, how do I have to call you? What do you identify by?
Mhm.
You can just, like, leave that part off and interact with a person. I know,
like
it's
it just
this
it
whole group of people is, and this is, again, fucking talk about history fucking rhyming. One of the first groups of people that the Nazis went after,
mhm.
fucking gender studies university.
Well, from one useful idiot to another, you got anything you want to end us out on?
Man, great job out there today, America. Way to stay strong, stay peaceful. But just remember, this is beginning, not the end. The
Mhm.
fight is just now turning in our tide. We have to take this energy and fucking run with it.
Mhm.
This has to be the beginning of the road and not just like where we say, okay, we did the thing, let's see if it works.
Mhm.
No, we have to maintain this and show them that we are willing to maintain this and they're not just going to get path of least resistance whenever they want to push whatever ungodly, unconstitutional bullshit they want to push through. They are going to meet a fucking army of us every time.
Mhm.
And that has to be the takeaway. We can only grow from here.
The thing I've been thinking about is, I do agree. Yeah, everybody, great job today, everybody getting out, fucking awesome. So many people showing up around here, whatever. I think that there's a common criticism of protests where people ask, "What's the point? What is it doing?" And I've been thinking about that a lot today. And I feel like one thing that is really important, at least here in Missouri, we consistently see overtly the will of the people as expressed through ballot measures subverted by our state
Yeah.
legislature. It happens constantly to us. And people getting together and having conversations about that, grouping together, seeing that they're not alone in it, and seeing things like people showing up and getting petitions signed about the gerrymandering that's going on in Missouri,
Yes. Find those
and
fucking petitions.
raising awareness for those things. What, just getting people in that space to sign those petitions? I know it sounds naive. I know
Huge
it sounds
benefit.
stupid. This is a part of how the process works, if it's working at all. And outside of the most cynical or black pilled perspectives, if we're going to have any faith in having some sort of a midterm election in this country, even with gerrymandered states, one thing that can beat a gerrymandered state
There's a wave.
is a wave, and people coming
That's
together
our way out of
and,
this.
and galvanizing, and people that show up, like I mentioned before, that show up and they don't have a specific political affiliation. They don't have affiliation with the Democrats, for example, that are ostensibly going to be represented or supported by a No Kings protest. Those people are more likely to not be those non-voters at this point.
Yeah.
Right? The people that
Yeah.
abstain, or the people that haven't voted before, those are extremely important people to bring into this. And messages
Yes.
like these protests, this
Yes.
outreach, not just to people that already agree, but people that are coming to agree with us. people that are starting that movement. And maybe they sign up to vote at a protest. Maybe they sign a petition. Maybe they, whatever. Like, that shit is valuable. It is valuable.
It's huge. It's critical, not just valuable. That is essential.
So we live these lives that are a lot more isolated and online, but it's important to recognize how important it's important to recognize how vital it is for local politics, for people to get together in person and have some recognition of what it takes to, get people to sign these petitions, get people to actually do the things that go to jump through the hoops to start making change at a smaller level, which can percolate upwards, which is what we have to hope for. So showing up to protests, it's not just good for me as a person that already agrees with the idea of the protest to feel better about myself or whatever, to feel some sense of community with some people, or in the most cynical view, just to jerk off. No, there is an actual tangible value to people being in proximity and getting signatures, doing this kind of work. And
Absolutely.
so more protests,
building that community,
more protests, more activity, more of these things that, again, are going to be decried as festivals. They're going to be decried as aimless expressions of
let the haters hate.
Let them exactly. Let them hate, because all that means is they're going to be potentially underestimating the value of us actually getting together and forming a meaningful
And
community.
it means we're frustrating too. If they hate what we're doing, it means that they're frustrating and it's getting under their skin and it's working.
Mm-hmm.
Because it wouldn't be frustrating them, it wouldn't be scaring them if they didn't fear it. And they wouldn't fear it if they didn't view it as something that they should be fearing.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know.
The more that we see, the more that we push.
Yeah, and community action is the only way that this is going to work. No, there's not some hero waiting on the other side of the fucking hill. There's nobody that's going to swoop in and save us. The aliens aren't going to come in from the comet that we're observing and save us. It's not happening.
Nope.
That's not how it fucking works. And even if it could work, what's the likelihood that it is the thing that's happening? Exceedingly slim. We need to act as though that isn't happening. We need to save ourselves.
Yep.
And we can only do that.
Yeah, it's like making your retirement strategy winning the lottery.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, if we do great, let's not plan on that. Let's not put all our eggs in the winning the lottery basket.
Right. So, community action, more of this, more and more.
Yep.
It's also these things, if they build and we start to see more prominent politicians show up at these events, we start to have more specific messaging in some spaces, specific political action can come out of it. It's impactful. It's extremely impactful.
Yeah.
And yeah, community action is the only way that's also going to get people signed up to vote, taken out to polling places, things like that, whatever it's going to take to actually
reminded to check their registration and make sure they haven't been kicked off polls. Because we're gonna need, like I said, it's gonna have to be a wave. That's what we're gonna have at this point, especially if the Voting Rights Act gets gutted, which we didn't get a chance to talk about. But that's.
I mean, what's there to say outside of it's very likely to just get gutted, and we know what the ramifications are. We know what it means for drawing districts in this country, because gerrymandering is a tale as old as fucking time for us. It's so
with racial precision.
Yeah.
Surgical precision. Yeah.
Racial.
But anyway, it's gonna take surgical racial precision. That combination of words. But it's going to take a wave to overcome that.
Yeah. 100%.
And it's going to take. Yeah. But we're going to have to build to that wave.
So I don't know. Just community's important. We brought an extra person that maybe wouldn't have gone without other people, to go with to the protest. That doesn't sound
Next
like
time,
much,
bring 2 extra people.
but I mean, I'd love to, but it doesn't sound like much.
Up
But it's
your
like
effort.
one person in a sea of thousands. But at the same time, that's 50% more people.
Exactly. And like next time, maybe that person brings somebody else because they've overcome this fear of what these things are going to be like or what the
Mhm.
social setting is going to be
Mhm.
like. And so, yeah, maybe next time they bring a person and like, maybe we just bring one other person next time. Maybe we just bring ourselves next time, but we've still grown. We've still amplified that message. That's one of the things I tried to impress to everybody that I was trying to get to come out. And even I said, if you can't come out, spread the word. If you know anybody that's remotely inclined, if you know anybody that's dissatisfied with what's going on,
Mhm.
tell them.
Mhm.
That's something that anybody can do. Anybody can amplify the message. Not everybody's going to get out, but anybody can spread the word. So
Yeah. Yeah.
do what you can where you can.
Yeah. And also, not everybody can get out. If
Yeah, absolutely. And that's understandable.
part of why we go out there is also to represent the people that are literally caught up in the exact system we're decrying, and they're working on the weekend during
Yeah.
this kind of thing. They can't get away to show their solidarity with this political movement. They don't have that that
I was out
ability
there
at
on
the time.
behalf
So
of my entire family who wasn't going to be able to get out there and that kind of, and I wouldn't have brought out there in that kind of potential inclement weather and
hmm hmm
whatnot. So, like, yeah,
yeah,
I was one of a stand-in for several. So,
and also we give ourselves so often as people, as animals, too much and too little credit at the same time. It's important to recognize, just from a shrewd perspective, the more popular something is, the more new people are going to show up to it.
yep,
So
yeah, I hate that it's true, but yeah,
yeah, it's just necessarily the way that people's brains work. So exploiting that fact for our benefit is not a bad thing. Like, it's fine to have that shrewd understanding and utilize that. So yeah,
yeah, and that's where
people.
we need the youth to see this and become more engaged and to be the drivers of the issue.
hmm hmm
Us old pasty white dudes with podcasts ain't gonna be the ones driving this forward. It's gonna need to be the people that have that social influence that can spread that to the people that are maybe kind of apathetic so far. That can bring in those people that we need to bring in.
Well, shows how dumb you are. When we get rid of the current gerontocracy, I plan on installing one with myself at the head of what will age into a new gerontocracy.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. Don't you see? Don't you see?
I'm not looking at the big picture. I'm not playing 5D chess here, apparently.